welcome to this tutorial. Today we're going to learn more about modal verbs, those magic little words that convey necessity, possibility and more. So let's explore those nuances of each modal verb so that we can understand more how to distinguish, how to use them and also how to remember those modal verbs. Let's start with can. Think about capability. Can expresses ability or possibility. For example, I can speak English. Yes, you can. Could. Think about polite requests, but also past ability, because could is the past tense of can. Could is more formal than can for requests like, could you please help me? And we use it to talk about possibility. For example, what could happen in the future, or indeed we use it for some potential things that could happen. What about may? Polite inquiries. May I borrow your book? May I help you? And then again, certain things may happen in the future. Might also is about things that might happen, but it kind of introduces a touch of uncertainty. So there's more of a sense of doubt with might than may. What about shall? It's quite formal. Shall I do this? Shall we dance, for example? Again, shall we do this next? So future. Should emphasizes obligation, advice, expectation. It's a bit about responsibilities. You should prepare your lesson. You should phone your mum. And we use it to talk about future probability as well. You know, that should happen if all goes well. In the normal order of things, that should be the case in the future. Of course, will is really the good modal verb for talking about future actions, determination, promises. I will come, I promise. It really expresses certainty, that future modal. Would is about preferences. It's also used for polite requests, but also conditional situations. It can be really used to make a polite question, would you mind, etc. But then it's also about conditional or theoretical things. Must is strong necessity or obligation, so urgent, essential things. I must finish what I'm doing. We must remember to do this. We must do that. Again, future, we must do that tomorrow. When we use have to instead of must, it means that it's more of an external obligation. So have to is about necessity or obligation, often imposed by rules or by circumstances. You could talk about things that you have to do in the near future because you're obliged to by external forces. And of course, all of these modal verbs that we're talking about today, mentioning future tenses, can also be used in the present. They're a way to slightly nuance your meaning. I must say it's hard to distinguish between them sometimes. It's best to really try using them, practicing them, and seeing if it sounds right, and paying attention when you're reading or listening to English, paying attention to those modal verbs. Also, of course, trying to create your own example sentences, writing them down. That's going to help you internalize what they mean. You could try and create some visual devices, mnemonic devices to help you, like a little sketch with an expression using one of the modal verbs, or could be flashcards with images on one side, or how they're used on one side and the modal verb on the other. The best way to remember and integrate these modal verbs is really to try and use them. It could be just as speaking aloud, or during lessons, or just practicing with other people. So if you practice regularly, create those associations, soon it will just be second nature to you to know that you're using the right modal verbs. Do remember that there's not really a wrong answer in lots of cases, so be confident and experiment with your modal verbs.